Hell no. We gotta post this shit right now. Right now. In regards to the prison escape in New Orleans, right? I was talking to another partner of mine who we were in a circle, and it's like, yeah, the bounties went up. The bounty is going up to 20 stacks. You know what I can do with $20,000? I'm like, bro, mm-mm. You wouldn't do it. I'm like, fuck no, mm-mm. I hope them niggas made it to Cuba. I'd be wrong for saying that. But I told them, like, well, look at the bright side. They're not in New Orleans anymore to do any crime. How about that? Maybe they're in Mexico. And I really hope so, man. And, my mom, she, I didn't want to really do this video, but it's just kind of funny to me, right? Because my mom and I, we were talking about this as well a few days ago. She called me up. I haven't spoken to her in a while. It's been a few weeks. And she said that shit with a serious face. She's like, you don't know any of them, do you? And I was like, no. And I was lying to her. I was lying to her, bro. Like, I was really lying. I was like, man. No, I don't know them. I know two of them, though. Man, what the fuck? All right. I see what you're doing. Yeah. You would be surprised, like, how she did that shit. Like, she wasn't joking. She was like, do you really know them? You don't know any of them, do you? Do you know them? No. And if I would have told her, yeah, just two of them, then she would have been like, what's two? Then the police would have been all at my door. What do you know about this? I don't want no phone calls from them. I haven't seen them. I don't know shit. I just hope to be able to take a trip out to Cuba or to Mexico and just shut up, Sam. I'm serious. I hope to see, I'm not saying any names, but I hope to see two of these little niggas out there, relaxing, enjoying themselves. Really. Am I wrong for feeling that way? Motherfucker, saying, oh yeah, I don't know him, so yeah, I was snitch. And I'm just standing there quiet. I'm like, even the ones I didn't know, I wouldn't snitch on. He's like, yeah, people are living out here. Everybody's living bad, and people are struggling, and all this other shit. I'm like, so who gives a fuck? I'm not snitching on them. I wish them the best. Because, if you get out of that shit, if you get out of there, you deserve to get away. And the dumbest ones got caught first. And there's a bet going on social media who will be caught last. And I'll tell you right now. I can tell you right now who would be the last person to get caught if they get caught. Because that story goes back quite some time, and this is pre-Katrina, this particular story here. And when I saw the cop's picture, I knew exactly who it was. I said it right there, Lynn Davis. Because Lynn Davis was a crooked-ass cop, and he ended up killing, a family member of one of the prisoners. How about that? I'll say it like that, right? So, his family, they never really stuck well to that. And that was big news in the city. We're talking about in the 90s. That was big news. So, one inmate was born in 1997. And that story resonated throughout the family, and I can understand that because even on my end with my family, you know, they are stories that has resonated, and there's stories that I would even tell my kids that went down in my family. So it always stuck with him. So when he ran into this cop's family, he took quite a few of them out. And when this happened before he was born, it was a big deal. A lot of people were upset. A lot of people were pissed. I was a kid and I was pissed. So I know for sure, like, you know, with his charges, you're not going to see him again. And I hope that no one does. You know, there's another one who, you know, why would you even escape? Like what the fuck? Like, you know, you would be out within about, like, what, 3 to 5 years at the most. What the fuck? Why would you leave? Hey, man, it's wild out there. It's wild. It's wild out there. Everybody's, you know, looking for them, and, you know, like I said, the dumbest ones got caught first. Like, you know, you get out and you go straight to the quarters, straight to the French quarters, and then hide under a car in front of a busy hotel. That was the most dumbest shit ever. You know what I would have done if I was him? If I couldn't leave, I would have just went on and just shut up. If I couldn't leave the city, I wouldn't know where to go. I would have crossed that bridge and went straight into the swamp. But see, that's the problem with that, man. You know, and you'd have been in my territory, and you know, we don't, you know, we're not playing like that. But I wouldn't snitch you though. Yeah, man, I swear. But yeah, 5 escaped, and, you know, well, not 5 escaped, but 5 are still on the loose. And like I said, I'm surprised that a lot of New Orleanians don't speak on this. But maybe because they, you know, I don't know, they're entertained with social media or whatever the case. But I have been watching this is very close. I just asked someone in the Department of Justice, because, you know, our conversation we were basically talking about matriarchy, and I brought up how, you know, it's kind of strange that all of the top-notch people that's involved in this are all women. Talking about the mayor, talking about the police superintendent, you know, we're talking about the lieutenant. All of these people are women. And one particular woman was actually going to run for office. And she decided to resign after this shit. Yeah, you better. This doesn't look good on your resume. But, you know, there were women who actually aided them. I was asking myself, like, you know, what do they have to do with this? And I found out, you know, like, oh, yeah, they were, you know, giving them rides and sending them food and shit. One guy got an Uber and went out he went to New Orleans East and shit. I was like, no way. You do not want to go out to the East. He was like, shit, nigga, I'm trying to get home. You know, I'm like, man, fuck that shit. Not the East. You know, that's the quickest way to get snitched out. Like, if I was breaking out, I would not go to the East. I would not go to Metairie. I would not go to Kenner either. I would take my ass straight across the river to the West Bank, and I would duck my ass off deep in the swamp. Or I would take and go out east and pass out east and make my way out to Florida, and, you know, go down south from Florida. Get on one of those damn boats like a Haitian. You know, like, yeah, you know, they send Haitians back quick. They let the Puerto Ricans come in, but they send the Haitians back. I'll go my ass straight to Haiti. Make my way to Cuba. You know, and criminals, man, you know, my grandfather used to tell me this shit, you know, like, you have to do one crime at a time. You know, if you have drugs in the car, wear your seatbelt and do the speed limit. You know, one crime at a time. Oh, the real. You know, you be a dumb criminal like that. But I tell you what, man, shout out to those 5 dudes, man. 'Cause I don't want to hear any news. And it may sound bad for me to say that, but I don't want to hear any news about them being caught. I just want them to just go ahead and get away. You know, this is almost like an O.J. Simpson thing for me. You know, when I was 15 years old in high school, you know, when the not guilty verdict came, because, you know, we all as kids, as teenagers, you know, we watched that chase, that white Bronco chase. We saw that shit. And, you know, we watched the trial. And we had TVs in every homeroom, every room pretty much at our high school. But when they announced that it was not guilty, you could see the rift between white folks and black folks. Black folks, you know, we were all like in the hallway celebrating. You know, we were like, oh wow, yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell. Like, it was a big deal. And it wasn't because we thought he was innocent. It's because finally, one of us got away. So I hope these 5 get away. Thank you. Sam, we out.